Got this movie called The Abandoned. Let's get it. So we start with this lady by the name of Wu, and she's just sitting in the car, looking like she's about to blow her brains out. But then all of a sudden, this lady starts tapping on the car door, or whatever, and just runs off into this river, or whatever, like that. So she's like, all right, let's see what's going on with this. She goes off into investigation, and then sees this chick laying there, done deal, dead as shit. We're like, what the fuck? Turns out Wu is actually a captain. She works for the police squad and whatever like that. But the thing is, she's supposed to be on vacation. Now we get a little bit of backstory of why she was about to kill herself. Turns out she was supposed to get married to this dude by the name of Wang or whatever like that. And then a year afterwards, this guy ended up killing himself inside the car that she was sitting in. We never got the reason of why he decided to do this other than that he was just depressed or whatever. But I was like, where's the depression coming from? Wasn't sure. So because of the body they found, the chief is deciding to put Wu back on the force, but she gonna have like a rookie tagging along or whatever. Some chick by the name of Kiki. But Kiki does know a lot about criminal investigations and whatnot. So they're putting her back on the force for two reasons. One, he feels like she's suicidal and you got, keep her busy. Now, the second reason is apparently they got limited people on the force. So there you go. So on the other side, we got this dude by the name of Shin. Now, Shin owns this convenience store and whatnot. We'll get to him in a minute. Now, the body that Wu found belongs to this chick by the name of Wari. They're doing the autopsy and found out that, like, her heart was cut out. They cut off her finger. And she got these, like, crazy tattoos on her back. Now, the thing was, Rory had a cut on her neck, so we find out they actually drained the blood for him to cut out a heart and stuff. You're thinking to yourself, well, why is he cutting out hearts and fingers? And just one finger, you know what I'm saying? Whoever the killer is, you know what I mean? Later on, Shin sees this lady banging on the convenience store. I mean, it's closed or whatever like that. So we're like, who is this chick? Turns out this chick named Saipan, and apparently Shin knows her. Basically, you get to talking, and he's going to give her a fake ID, passport, stuff like that. Now, you think to yourself, why is he helping this chick? Well, turns out Rory used to be Shin's girlfriend. Saipan is also Rory's sister. So now you're thinking to yourself, did Shin have anything to do with the murder? Now, I think that Saipan acted like she wanted to get a job, but really the real reason is she's looking for a sister. Now, to our knowledge at this point, we don't know if Shin knows what the fuck happened, but it feels like he's got a clue. Then we find out from Saipan Rory was talking to some other dude on the side by the name of Makong. More on him in a minute. We found out Rory and Saipan were like immigrant workers or whatever like that. That's what Wu and Kiki found out. Then they get a call from headquarters saying that a red box is sitting by a phone booth or whatever like that. Potentially could be a bomb. Please check on it, but the thing is it doesn't explode. So we're like, all right, what's in this box? So you think this was a fake bomb to throw us off the trail? But guess who put the bomb there? Makong did. So you're thinking to yourself, is Makong the killer? Hold off on that. So Shin and this other dude ends up taking Saipan to this photographer or whatever like that to get the fake ID stuff done. Now it's been a couple days at this point. Saipan's getting irritated. She's like, yo, where is my sister? Then all of a sudden, Wu and Kiki end up knocking on the door and they end up talking to Shin. And now they take him down for questioning because they want to ask him questions about some pictures. They start questioning him about people, and Bob minds he acting like he ain't got no idea. Meanwhile, he's been harboring Saipan in this fucking convenience store. So you're thinking to yourself, he might be guilty, right? Hang on to that. Meanwhile, while all this is going on, Saipan ends up getting a call from some chick by the name of Yetta. Now, who is Yetta? Apparently, she was another immigrant worker. And she was basically telling her she knows where her sister is, like come to a certain spot by 8 o'clock. But we all know her sister's dead as shit, so it's like... So at this point, Saipan's had enough of Shin. So the thing is, she's trying to dip off like basically, I'm just going to find my sister myself. Saipan ends up dipping out. Shin is about to drive to another location. They're not realizing that Kiki and Wu was watching the thing the whole time. So now they both know Saipan was with Shin the whole time. So Shin ends up going to the spot, and we find out he's going there to actually look for Makong. Now he knew exactly where he was. I was like, really? So Makong's like, yo, you gotta chill out, man. Like, I didn't kill her. I ain't had nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? I had to do things with the workforce. I ain't have a choice. I'm like, what do you have a choice what to do? All of a sudden, Wu busts in there with Kiki, and all hell breaks loose at this point. Somehow, Makong ended up getting the gun and pointed at all three of them, and then they heard the police sirens. I guess Kiki made the call before they ended up busting in or whatever like that. Then Makong ends up doing himself and done deal dead as shit. Now, at that point, they get Wu flashbacks of, her husband doing the same thing to himself. So it was like, damn. So after all this happens, Shin decides that he actually wants to help Wu. He tells her about this body that was buried on the other side of the lake. And we're like, what the fuck? So when they dig out the body, come to find out it's Yeti's body. I was like, wait, what? So apparently Yeti's been dead for like a week. So we're like, wait a minute. They give us all this backstory about how he was actually an immigrant worker or whatever. And he had no choice but to bury his body because they forced him to. But then I'm thinking to myself, well, if Yeti didn't make the call to Saipan, who the fuck did? The killer? So they put in certain pieces of the puzzle together, and now they think that Shin's friend Hansu might have something to do with this whole thing. Because all of a sudden they can't find Saipan, but they have found some video footage of her getting into a taxi. And Hansu runs a taxi thing, so they think he has something to do with it. So he sets up the meeting so they can meet up with him, whatever like that. They end up arresting him. They show him the footage, but then they forget one particular detail. The cab had no scratches on it. When Cypher left the convenience store that night, she ended up putting a dent in the driver's seat or whatever like that. But that's the only reason. But they're thinking to yourself, here's the thing. They both had the same tags on it. Now you're thinking to yourself, would there be anybody else driving a cab? Next thing until we see this locked down basement and we actually see Cypher handcuffed in his wheelchair. So we're like, who the heck just kidnapped her? You know what I'm saying? So they put more pieces of the puzzle together. They're thinking that all the victims that were kidnapped, they were getting deaded on their birthdays. Don't ask me how they put that together, but anyway. They go to a certain spot, they dig through the this warehouse or whatever, they didn't find this taxi cab, right? So then we're like, okay, let's look inside the taxi cab. They end up finding an ID in there. Turns out the license actually belonged to the photographer that was taking the fake IDs for Saipan. What the fuck? I didn't even remotely think he would be the killer in this one. Like, oh, that was a twist. So now they gotta figure out who he is and find his location. But then the guy actually drove up to the abandoned area, and then the chase begins. So they try to stop him and arrest him, whatever like that, but in the process, Kiki ends up getting stabbed in the chest. I'm like, oh shit. Shin takes Kiki into the hospital and hurries back in the car because they ain't got time. We gotta figure out what Saipan is or if she's dead or not. So what our people don't know is the photographer guy, he had lit like a trash can on fire, whatever like that, while Saipan was still handcuffed to the wheelchair in this like abandoned like basement type of room, whatever like that. So bottom line is he's probably just got her there to suffocate to death. So we don't even know if she's still alive or not. See, the thing is, they don't know exactly where she's at. So bottom line is the photographer's like, yeah, take me to the spot first. Because apparently he had a dog that needed to be fed. I'm like, yo. Then he tells Shin to go check upstairs, right? He goes upstairs, sees all these pictures or whatever like that, and then we get some backstory. So apparently because the photographer lost his wife, he went to go around killing everybody else on birthdays because he lost his wife on his birthday. I'm like, the fuck? But then Shin goes in this other room and checks behind the curtain, and you see like hearts and fingers and all types of stuff, all types of evidence. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? So at this point, Shin's ready to murk this nigga. But obviously, Wu can't let him do that because if that happens, they'll never find out what Saipan is. She can't really stop Shin, so basically she ends up shooting him in his leg, and then she ends up taking the photographer as like, yo, fuck that, we're gonna take it to the location. So they end up going to this location, this crazy ass area, whatever like that. Then he takes her to the door, whatever like that. But the thing is, it's a combination lock. So after he gets the door open, he tries to sneak in there and try to lock her out or whatever like that. But she puts her hand in the door, whatever, and gets herself inside the door. So now the beef is really on. She's looking around trying to find her, whatever like that. Now keep in mind, the door automatically locks on its own. And she still didn't see him put the combination in, so she still don't know what the combination is anyway. Now it's a standoff. She finds Saipan, but he's got Saipan's neck, you know what I'm saying? Basically, puncture artery, done deal, whatever like that. So he forces her to drop the gun. He basically pushes her in the Wu so he could try to hurry up and then lock them in when he gets to the combination, whatever like that. But she was able to stop him. And it became the epic beef. Bottom line is, the photographer got done deal dead as shit. But now they're stuck in his room and you don't even know she got a way out. She's trying everything to bust this window. Then she found some oxygen tanks and finally was able to bust the window open or whatever like that. Get Saipan free, you know what I'm saying? Puts her head to that so that way she could breathe in if she's still alive. And she is still alive, but barely. Police find her somehow and get them up out of there. 1 week later, she finally makes peace with giving the car to the pound because obviously she was riding around on Wayne's car, you know, her dead husband. She ended up keeping the dog Fuji. Shin and Saipan are in the hospital safe, and Kiki's making a full recovery. And that's the end of the movie. I might have missed a couple of parts, but bottom line is like it's detective work. The shit is crazy. The Abandoned on Netflix. Check it out.